in Schools is all about.
To learn more, visit communitiesinschools.org.
ESPN Blacksburg is W226AT Christiansburg, WPIN AM Dublin, and W246CR Christiansburg. It's time for the Hokie House pregame show. Join the guys right now at Hokie House for complete analysis of today's Virginia Tech football game. Now let's head upstairs at Hokie House for the show.
It is the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg. I'm Paul Van Wagner. Now, this is a crew today. Holy cow. All right, let me see. Where do we start? Dave crew. Perks, the voice of the fan,
hello,
as always with us. How you doing?
Good.
Face is all healed up?
Face is healed up. Growing the beard to hide the scar right now. See how that goes. But we'll, yeah.
Chicks like scars. I'm just saying.
That's true. They also like beards, it turns out.
They do like beards.
Yeah,
boy.
Go right there.
Someone that can't grow a beard, Andrew Alex, also joining us today.
I just haven't tried, okay?
That's
what they all say.
There is no try. There is only do.
Do order now.
Tim Thomas from Tech Lunch Pail here today. How you doing, my man?
Doing fantastic, Paul.
And all the way from Nebraska.
That's right.
Wow. What in the world?
Let's say, is my mic on?
I don't think your mic is on. What are we doing here? Hang on.
You said you had 5 headsets.
I do have 5 headsets. Hang on. Do that. Keep
all
talking.
right, how about now?
Hey,
there we go.
I'm just going to throw it out there. It was a hell of a lot better when we couldn't hear you. Nathan Brennan here with us today. And on the Voice of College Football page, Mike McDaniel somewhere. He's off hiding. I think maybe it's baby feeding, changing time. We're not really sure what's going on there. Mike will join us at some point. Hi, Mike.
I'm here.
Hi,
what's going on? Hey.
All right. We're doing good. Wholesome Holloway might also be joining us potentially today from the Miami page on the Voice of College Football, giving us a little insight into the Canes and what to expect from there. But guys, let's start out like we always do. Let's start out with last week where Israel Abanikanda had himself a day.
Yeah.
Nobody else had themselves a day, but Israel Abanikanda had himself a day, Timmy.
Yep. Well, I don't think I've ever seen a football game where a defense has 11 tackles for loss, 10 of which were not sacks.
Yep.
And then also gives up so many rushing yards that a Tony Dorsett record falls at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever happened in football. It was one of those things. One of my writers who wrote our post-game story said it well. Tech's defense had the sizzle, but they didn't have the steak.
Right.
Israel Abanikanda had the steak and had a prime rib and a sirloin with him too. Yes, on that game, he was phenomenal. I mean, he's one of those guys where he has the speed. Where if you give him a hole, look out. And we saw it again and again. And again, and again, and somehow this game was a 4-quarter game.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like a basketball game.
I think
it
everybody
was like
on the field was just so excited that he was back, including our guys. They were just like, you know what?
Let's let him.
Let's celebrate.
Let's
celebrate together.
Let's take down Tony Dorsett record today.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right. I mean, Dave, but you look at it, right? Like, and again, not a moral victory kind of a guy, but in the fourth quarter with 13:25 left, the Hokies had an opportunity to tie the game. They go for 2. Grant Wells throws the pass to Jalen Holston. They don't connect. It ends up 31-29. Kind of from there, the wheels came off the bus, but I don't know. Like, does this give us hope? Do we take pause here and go, well,
yeah,
they didn't really blow Virginia Tech out of the water. I know the final score looks a little bit more lopsided than it actually was,
right,
but at least the Hokies stuck with Pitt.
Well, yeah, I think, my takeaway from this one, and it's certainly not a hot take by any means. I think, we've been spending week after week looking for a sign, right, that things are catching on,
right,
at least in the locker room, on the practice field, the things that we're hearing about being successful in the practice field translating to a game. And we started to see hints of that last week.
Right.
There were some promising signs on offense of just being able to move the ball, which we haven't been able to do. The return of Malachi Thomas probably had a good bit to do with that, because that guy can find a hole where there isn't one.
Yep.
So you love to see that. But I think, just the options that started to open up a little bit deeper into the game. This team isn't mature enough to capitalize on opportunities right now. And, whatever, it's year 0, if you want to call it that, year 1, whatever you want to call it. We all expected this stuff. It's not a surprise, but it was good to see them making some strides last week. And I think we might be able to see that continue this week.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, if you remember last week when we talked on this very pregame show, I mentioned talent gaps, right? And Pittsburgh, in year whatever of Pat Narduzzi, has established the program and depth that, I mean, obviously none of us here really like Pat Narduzzi because he's a clown.
Yeah.
But he has built something.
Nathan should like him. They're kindred spirits.
Sure
That
enough,
is right.
Sure enough. Jimmy Cleveland said Clown University.
That's true.
2022.
That's true.
By the way, there's not extra insurance on that headset, so don't start throwing that around.
All
right, that's right.
Don't
Right.
give it away
Narduzzi,
this
my
time.
headset.
Yeah. Regardless, you know, Pittsburgh is a more established program, and they had more talent than Virginia Tech last week. That showed on the field. So we're looking for silver linings, right? And offensively, there certainly was silver linings. And Tim, I don't know if you ever look at Pro Football Focus grades. They gave Virginia Tech like an 85 grade for defense after allowing 6 touchdowns.
Because
to one running back.
they were streaky. The pass defense was pretty good. Let's be honest. Like they had that rough start with Breon Murray, who specifically had a slow start to the game. Breon Murray
very specific.
in man coverage is not great. In zone, he's pretty good. In man, below par. But that's the other part of it. That's the weird part of this. Is you had so many explosive big plays that drove up the total yards and everything, and they still had 11 tackles for loss. Pitt did not have that. I'll bet if you're running like they are, why throw the football that much? But Slovis didn't play great.
I didn't play-
That Pitt offense, that Pitt passing attack wasn't great. That's the thing. Like, it wasn't, they lost by 16 and Abanikanda put up an absurd number, which I think left kind of a different, bad aftertaste in your mouth a little. But they didn't play that bad.
Well, I mean, like
It
any
was
way
a
you
big
slice
step
it,
in the right
like
direction.
any way that you slice it, it's fascinating when you look at Virginia Tech because we talked about at the beginning of the season, the offense can't score, the defense
Right.
is going to be the strength of this team. Now it seems like the past 2 weeks we've done a complete polar opposite.
No, not the past 2 weeks.
So it's
Basically
like-
just last week.
Well,
It was just-
last-
yeah,
excuse
yeah.
me,
The week
just
before
last
was
week.
not
It's
great.
like 20
week
points
before,
combined the 2 weeks prior.
right? The week before, it was like, okay, Virginia Tech's the worst offense in the country.
Right.
So
Could
it's
still
like
be true.
now I think where we're at is when you go into this Miami game,
Yeah.
what are we going to get?
Yeah.
Like I have no idea what to expect. It's in
Exactly.
Lane Stadium, which is going to give you like a pass, like that's going to help you at least. But then you're
Help
still
figure
7-point
them out.
underdogs.
It's like,
Yeah,
so it's like,
it's
what do you
can
expect?
they ever bring it all together? at
Right,
once?
exactly.
And when I was talking to Paul last week, what I was saying is we're looking for silver linings here, right? Because Miami is going to have more talent than Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
NC State is not even just
Yeah,
a
I've
more
conceded that
talented
one.
team. But
I'm
a
looking forward to
more-
going around
much-
and enjoying the environment. I could see that
Exactly.
it might be really ugly that
But
night, even if Devin Leary isn't
when
playing.
we
They're
look
well
at-
coached
So
too.
when we look ahead to November, right? It's Georgia Tech, Duke, Liberty, and UVA. 4 teams where Brent Pry will no longer be able to make the excuse that Virginia Tech just didn't have the talent to beat those guys.
Right.
Because the gap, if the other team has more talent, it is marginal at
minuscule.
best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I thought about the month of October for a month that even going into the season, when expectations for some were probably higher than they are now. You're like, okay, this is going to be a bloodbath in October. But
Yep.
right now, today, it's like, okay, these guys, this coaching staff, clearly doesn't have it all figured out right now. So take this month, figure out what
Figure
you
it out.
have, and put yourself in the best position to roll off 4 wins in a row or 3 out of 4 in the month of November. So at least there's a perception that you have momentum
Yeah.
going into the recruiting period. And more importantly, right now, going into the transfer portal period where you're going to need to get some pieces to make it look next year like you are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think too, and Tim, you guys talked about it on your site this week too. Like, there's going into the season, we all talked about the fact there's no depth, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's been at least 2 games now where like the offensive line has played every snap.
Yep.
Not great,
No.
but there are some flashes from the younger guys, and like I said, you guys talked about it on the site this week too. And I think we are in that portion of the season now where you start. Like, I don't care about red shirts anymore. Like, if we've got guys who recruited because they were good, and now they're starting to figure it out in practice, let them see what they can do in games and start to develop that, because this isn't we're not accomplishing anything but growth this year.
Mike,
Yeah.
So let them grow.
Mike, what is your thought about what you saw between Virginia Tech and Pitt? Where are you at with the Hokies right now?
I'm basically where everybody else is. Like, it was a silver lining type game offensively. Like, I thought Virginia Tech's offense played their best game of the year outside of Boston College, which was encouraging to see. But defensively, like, you got to play better than that against the run. Like, I get that they had 11 tackles for loss and they were able to make some stops. But, I mean, you can't let Pitt's only playmaker go for 320 rushing yards. It just can't happen. So it feels like every week with this team, it's like, 2 steps forward and 1 step back in a way, right? Like when the offense starts to play better, then the defense is the liability on the field. Like the offense didn't lose Virginia Tech the game last week. It was the defense for sure.
Yeah, I'll say this as well. I think, like I said, they were inconsistent, last week. I don't think the defense wasn't consistently bad. They were just inconsistent. And yeah, it was a step back from what we saw earlier in the season against weaker competition, but it's definitely an improvement than what we saw against UNC.
Well, I think
and I would rather that's a good sign. All right, you can go, if you're showing inconsistency but flashes, all right, you're starting to see that there's some potential here. Then the next step always is getting back to consistency.
But I think that's the problem, though, Tim, and I think that's the frustration for the fans. You go from saying, okay, this is a top 25 defense in the country, and then you rattle off 2 teams that are not great.
Teams you played sucked.
Like the teams that you play aren't great, and you drop 41 and then 45.
Yeah.
But
that's better offenses.
That's the frustration.
Well, let's think about it.
But it's are these really good offenses?
They're better.
So were we the defense we thought we were against the competition we played?
Are they 45?
Hold on,
good
Nathan.
offenses?
Let me speak here.
They are.
ODU's got a terrible offense. That quarterback looked like he was scared out of his mind.
They're terrible.
Boston College has no offensive line. I think they called you up to play, and that you'd probably be an upgrade for them. And Wofford hadn't scored a point. So, these were bad defenses, and I think we're seeing – and here's the thing. There are some weak parts to this deep. There's some good pieces, some parts, but there are some weak spots, and teams are able – like that Will linebacker spot, for example, has been a spot of inconsistency. I think adding an Alan Tisdale back helps, not because he has the ceiling of a Jaden Keller or of a Jaden McDonald, but his floor is so much higher because he has the experience. Look at that pick game. You're without Tywan Garbett. Tywan Garbett's been the best run stopper for this team for a year or two now in terms of the defensive line. Josh Fuga played very well. The defensive line, I thought, played actually pretty decent overall. But you lose a guy like Garbett, who is a playmaker on that defensive line, that's going to hurt you. You lose a guy like Dorian Strong in coverage, you're going to have to compensate in coverage, which may mean you pull someone else out of the box that you might have had in the box. And all of a sudden, those gaps, well, you might be relying on a redshirt freshman to hit the gap, fill the gap every time, instead of having maybe some safety help because that safety needs to be backed off a little more.
Well, and Mike, Wayne in Ohio texts in, makes a great point, right? Like the special teams didn't help Virginia Tech at all. I mean, how many times did Pitt start out with the ball on the plus side of the field or close to the plus side of the field?
Just handed it to him walking off the field.
Right? Not so special.
Peter Moore's got to be hurt, right? Like Peter Moore has been a good punter. Like he's got to be hurt. I mean, you don't just go from being a good punter to now averaging 30 yards a punt. Something's not right.
I think he got the yips.
Regress significantly.
Yeah. I think he got the yips mid-game because and Mike, you probably saw. I know you saw as well, but he had 2 good punts to start, and then he has that kind of whiff shank, and I think it just threw him off. And then you had a couple good by the end. He was hitting like 40-yard net punts and whatnot, which were solid. But I think that, and disagree with me if you may, but
I disagree with you.
I think he had the yips.
I'm not even paying attention.
I think he had the yips.
That's possible. Mike, yips? You're a golfer? Is that a thing?
I mean, yips are definitely a thing, and he was so inconsistent last week that I'm open to any and all speculation as far as what was wrong with Peter Moore.
I'd rather it be a strained hamstring than the yips. I'll tell you that.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. Virginia Tech's got Miami coming up here in just a couple of hours. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk a little bit about what the Canes can do, what they can't do, what the Hokies can do to try to maybe expose some weaknesses. In case you're wondering, there are a lot of weaknesses on the Hurricanes, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We'll talk about that coming up. You're listening to the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg.
Only sports station that matters.
ESPN Blacksburg and ESPNBlacksburg.com.
Going to college is full of choices and challenges. So when the time comes to make the move off campus, the decision of where to move is a big one. Let Jefferson Apartments be your new home. They're close to shopping and Virginia Tech with a free shuttle bus to campus provided on school days. Roomy 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments have high-speed internet, air conditioning, and laundry facilities are located in each building. Jefferson Apartments, locally owned and operated, 614 Washington Street, Blacksburg, 552-4252.
So I hear you're buying a house. That's awesome. Have you thought about where you're going to close?
No, I didn't think that was a choice I had, or it was that important.
Oh my gosh, yes, it's so important. And the home buyers in Virginia, they have the right to choose what title company they close their loan with.
Well, do you have any suggestions?
You should tell your realtor and lender that you want to close at True North Title. They'll be involved in the whole process for you and will answer any questions you have along the way. Plus, they're really involved in our community, and if you want, they'll even give you a first-time home buyer's consultation.
True North Title Company, 200 Country Club Drive in Blacksburg, Virginia, and all over the Commonwealth.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-860-3973. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-860-3973. That's 800-860-3973. Again, 800-860-3973.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-2714. 800-378-2714. 800-378-2714. That's 800-378-2714.
Time and time again. It's alright if I stay asleep, 'cause I don't wanna leave the comfort of this place. 'Cause there's a hunger, longing to escape from the life I live when I'm away. So let's go there. Let's make our escape. Come on, let's go.
It's the HOKIE House Pregame Show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg, and a good Saturday morning to all of you. We are live at HOKIE House. A little private party going on here today, having a good time. Thanks to Ollie and the crew for setting this up for us. Paul Van Wagner, Dave Perks, Tim Thomas. We've lost
and a shuffled deck of whoever.
What a shock,
Hey,
right?
This is like the original show here. You know?
Right.
This is going back to the.
This is going back
to
away.
2016 here.
Yeah,
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Mike McDaniel joining us on the Voice of College Football page. We are streaming live on the Virginia Tech page, the Miami page, and on the main page of the Voice of College Football. Thank you guys for joining us today. Lots of people checking this out, tuning in. We love having you. So here's the deal, guys. For as bad as Virginia Tech has been throughout the course of this season, and we know it's been bad, Miami hasn't been
that much better.
Hang on a second. I was told they were back.
They've been back. They've been back for about 2 decades now, and it just hasn't happened.
A complete mystery to me. How are they not back? I've been told so many times they're back.
It's I think at this point it's almost just it's like a slogan, right? It's like McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Yes.
The U is back. Like
the turnover chain should just be like this diamond encrusted gaudy
gone.
thing that says we're back.
It's gone.
Oh, is it?
The turnover chain is gone.
Got rid of it.
That's how much I've paid attention.
No
to
more turnover
Miami
and how good their defense has performed this year too.
And their defense has been a struggle. I mean,
Yes.
obviously against Bethune-Cookman, they run up the score there, no surprise. Southern Miss, same deal, a 30-7 victory. But once they start playing teams with some legitimate talent, Texas A&M, even Middle Tennessee State, who's a pretty decent.
No,
Middle
they
Tennessee
did.
State's
I
a
know.
pretty decent-
I know. I'm
Dude.
just glad Old Dominion didn't have
No.
like some sort of directional title in their name for that
That's fair.
loss too.
That's
to show
fair.
up for
I'll
us.
say this though, I think Miami's defense isn't as bad as we're saying they've been, because you look at it. North Carolina, they give up 27. They get 2 turnovers off Drake May, who's been hard to force interceptions off of, and Phil Longo offense has a quarterback and the weapons and needs to really be a 40. Basically play. North Carolina's basically playing Big 12 football.
Well, so what that is, I think, is Miami recruits talent. They don't coach talent.
That's
so every now and then you have these flashes of these guys that have instincts but no coaching.
And then you have the other side,
and then
A&M.
they do stuff on the field and you don't know where it came from.
And then you only give up 17 points on the road at A&M and hold Max Johnson to 6 catches to 9 running backs. There's a lot to like in unfortunate ways for Tech in terms of pass defense, the rush defense allowing 3.1 yards per carry.
But Mike, when you look at this Miami team, right, like they're real streaky. They don't really show you any consistency. Now, the guys talked already about, the recruits, the stars, the players that come in. I mean, it's 5-star, 5-star, 4-star, 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 4-star. Like there's an embarrassment
Where
of
stars
riches.
go to die.
There's an embarrassment of riches as far as talent is concerned. But I don't know that this team has been coached correctly. And the guys already alluded to that over the course of the last few years. Maybe that changes now, but like as of right now, this is still just a lot of talent on a rudderless ship, isn't it?
I mean, I think long-term Cristobal is the right hire compared to like Manny Diaz, who they were kind of forced into because of Mark Richt's untimely retirement. But you can't tell me that Manny Diaz would have gotten anything less out of Miami than Mario Cristobal has in year 1. Like, I think if Manny Diaz was the coach this year, Miami would be in a better spot than they are right now. And that's just a fact. Like, Cristobal has not gotten anything out of this Miami team. They haven't played particularly well offensively or especially defensively. The secondary has been really, really, really bad. Shockingly so. I mean, that Middle Tennessee State game, they gave up 4 passes of over 60 yards or more, including a 98-yard touchdown pass. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to work when you have 4 and 5 stars all over the field. So it was always going to be a culture rebuild for Miami, not necessarily a talent rebuild. They've still been recruiting well. They recruited well under Manny Diaz. But I think if you look at Mario Cristobal and kind of what he has to build there, it's the culture. He's got to rebuild the culture. And he's a Miami guy. And I'll tell you what, if he's not able to fix this, I don't know who does for Miami. Like, if he can't get anything out of this roster, I don't know who the next guy is. What is their plan B? I don't really know what it would be at this point.
Segment started 5 minutes ago. Andrew just decided to show up.
Welcome in, Andrew.
It's because of the private party, and then I had to tell everyone that
Early
tries
is
to
on
come
time.
in.
On time is late.
Late is unacceptable. Something I've been struggling with my entire life.
Me too.
What are we talking about? Miami?
Well, Miami. And the thing is, guys, like you look at the pass rush. That was the one thing I kind of wish Wholesome Holloway was able to join us today because he would tell you, like, Miami doesn't have a pass rush, right? So if you look at kind of this matchup, right, Virginia Tech's offensive line versus Miami's pass rush. I don't know. What's that?
Slap fight in the trenches today.
Well, the good news is, that's the thing is, though, Tech's pass blocking has been the strength of that unit. It's pretty good for Miami. It's not great, but it's pretty good. I mean, you have safety. You have combined for 4 interceptions so far this season. You have veteran experience at the corner. So I think this is, and you beat you because not off to say, hey, this guy can beat us.
Look at what the Miami Deeds did in terms of containing Drake May and the North Carolina
Welcome back. Welcome to my point earlier.
Yeah,
feel free.
Well, look, you want to bring in Nathan Brennan? They'll start talking about Nebraska. I'm the best.
I had pulled up last week's Nebraska-Rutgers game just in case he wanted to.
In
but
case
he
anyone
decided
wants to fall asleep.
That's true.
But yeah, it's this is a Miami team that I think to this point, and Tim, do you agree, is the most talented and even maybe most well-rounded team that Virginia Tech's played all year? Think they're better than Pitt?
I'm going to think about that one for a little. I think that in terms of talent on paper, they probably are the most talented.
Certainly.
I mean,
North Carolina wasn't
but in terms of
well-rounded.
putting it together, I think you'd still lean North Carolina in terms of teams that have actually put together in terms of what they are. Even if North Carolina's defense isn't great, I'll bet, somehow they only gave up 10 points to Tech. I was glad to be off the grid and not watch that game at all. Hallelujah. But I will say with this matchup today, one of the interesting things is Tyler Van Dyke.
Yes.
Is he had those struggles, and then last week he throws for almost 500 yards. Now,
they changed their offensive philosophy a little bit, apparently. I've heard he went to the coaches. He told them, here's the plays I want to run. Here's what I'm comfortable doing.
Well, I tell you, I think one thing
were immediate.
Well, I think one thing with Van Dyke as well.
Wait,
I don't know
coaches listening to players when they have suggestions? That's novel. We had
listened to Hendon Hooker 3 years ago.
Yeah, oh boy. Thanks,
Andrew.
Andrew.
That guy didn't have enough grit. With Miami, obviously, no Xavier Restrepo, or I don't know his status today. They don't have him. That's the top receiver. So you lose a guy like that. That does affect the team. Seems like the receiving core is not great. But I saw someone make this point about Van Dyke. Is you look at Cristobal's history with quarterbacks, with Justin Herbert, he was head coach there of Herbert. Herbert was good in college, but it feels like what he's done in the NFL is should he have been better? Is it all just Gaddis? A lot. I got some friends who are Miami fans, and they blame Gaddis a lot.
Right?
Is it more Gaddis? Is it Van Dyke just not as good as we thought, or regressed a little? Is it Cristobal? It's just not maybe letting his offensive coordinator and his staff get the most out of their quarterback and adjust a little. It's an interesting, but there's signs of life. That's an interesting point about Van Dyke getting some adjustments from the staff, and it clearly working for the tune of almost 500 yards.
And just for the record, 904 Hurricane, we're not saying Virginia Tech is going to win this. We're just saying
I'm the voice of the fan. I'm saying Virginia Tech is going to win this. 904 Hurricane.
Dave's also been drinking already.
Yeah. 904 Hurricane, whoever you are.
Yep.
Do you have your own face in your profile shot, 904 Hurricane? I don't know if you do or not.
I think he might.
That's right.
He might. It is possible.
Oh, man.
I mean, we're going to get to our predictions here later on in the show, guys. But I mean, Mike, at this point, you kind of look at it, and I think man to man, talent to talent, Miami is the better team. The question is, can they put it together? Or can Virginia Tech kind of muddy this up? I go back to the North Carolina game for the Hokies 2 years ago that they opened up the season with. Can you muddy this up? Can you ugly this game up enough that you keep it close at the end and give yourself a chance to win? And I think that's the biggest question right now.
I mean, that's definitely the biggest question. I mean, I think obviously an under type game would favor Virginia Tech.
Certainly.
I think if it gets pointsy, Virginia Tech's offense played well last week, but then the expectation to not only do that 2 weeks in a row, but then do it against a more talented Miami team, right? Pittsburgh's been playing better football this year, but Miami's a more talented team than Pittsburgh. They have more weapons offensively. So, I mean, I think it's a lot to ask of Virginia Tech to have them get into a high-scoring game and then come out on top. That would be a game that I don't think would favor Virginia Tech, in my opinion.
I don't think that there's a team in the ACC, guys, outside of maybe Virginia, that Virginia Tech can get into a track meet with and compete.
Sure. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Georgia Tech.
UVA?
I mean, let's be honest. Georgia Tech, it's been a miracle that they won 2 straight ACC games. That is if you don't believe miracle stuff, 2 ACC games. That's the thing though.
But that's also
November schedule too. For Tech is that UVA has been terrible. Georgia Tech,
God bless them,
has probably the least talent in the ACC.
Okay.
Duke, hold on. Duke is looked the most competent of the ACC, 3 ACC teams by far. But that's all. Western team that has lost some terrible games. Virginia, that's not good. And Temple, who's rebuilding mightily, got beat by 50 by UCF.
The talent excuse won't be there.
Yep.
But if in the next bowl being the most penalized team in the country thing, those games are going to end up in the loss column.
There's some of them will, and
the program in general will not find
to have. This is Florida State. Virginia Tech is like Florida State was 2 years ago, and the type of roster churn and the type of rebuild that this is going to take is going to take a multi-years in the muck and the abyss, potentially, fast as they need to. Because some people say, oh, bring in 25 transfers this offseason. They're not going to be the roster spots for that. You're going to see 15, 20 guys turn out, and that's how you're going to
which is why creating
extent, but at the end of the day, part of it's casting the vision of what you're going to do. Look at the recruits excited. Trent Price 2-4 right now, and recruits. Our good friend Evan Watkins, sees recruits. They have a loaded weekend of visitors here, even though Tech's probably going to lose for a 12:30 game.
But don't get embarrassed.
All right, we got to take a break. 904 Hurricane. Your profile pick is not you on a lawnmower. It's a group of guys. But it's all good, man.
God bless your Hurricane Santa hat.
That is exactly right. Like, I can get behind the Hurricane Santa hat. All right, quick break. When we come back, there's a whole bunch of ACC games to go over. We'll do that coming up next. You are listening to the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg.
So much coverage. Hey, if we were a jersey, we'd be triple XL.
ESPN Blacksburg, 93.1, 810, 97.1, and online at espnblacksburg.com.
At the Sheeler Used Car Superstore, we appreciate you. And during our customer appreciation event, get more financing options, more value, and more selection. With over 1,500 used vehicles in one location and more arriving daily, the demand is high, and Sheeler is responding to keep plenty of used vehicles in stock. Have a trade? We need it. Your trade is still worth more on a motor mile, and we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy from us. With over 1,500 used vehicles available in one location, Sheeler is your one-stop for all makes and models. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, many have miles in the teens, remaining factory warranties, and some are even local one-owner vehicles. 1,500. No other dealer in the area has that kind of selection. Need credit? Sheeler has financing options to get you driving today. Sheeler finances in-house, and we decide right now to get you approved. Don't miss our customer appreciation event going on now with over 1,500 used vehicles available to choose from at the Used Car Superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile, I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com. Why start anywhere else?
Do you have a nagging injury that just won't go away? This is Brenda Miller, owner of Core Physical Therapy in Blacksburg. Unlike other clinics, 100% of your care will be performed by a licensed physical therapist. We offer dry needling, a specialized treatment aimed to address problems with muscle and connective tissue. Needling can expedite your recovery by improving mobility and strength and reducing pain. To learn more, check us out at coreptblacksburg.com.
When you're talking about a local community pharmacy, what are you talking about? You're talking about a professional who's at the top of their field, a person who spends time talking to you about your medicinal options and takes the time to explain how medicines work. Those traits are what makes Main Street Pharmacy different and allows them to surpass your normal expectations in what a pharmacy has to offer. If you want to experience what a local pharmacy can do for you, Main Street Pharmacy makes it very simple to transfer all of your prescriptions to them. Simply give them a call at 540-605-7721 and they'll take it from there. Main Street Pharmacy is located in downtown Blacksburg at 301 South Main. They offer free parking in their lot off Clay Street, as well as free delivery. Check out their website at msblacksburg.com. That's msblacksburg.com. Main Street Pharmacy. Our goal is to maximize your healthcare outcomes through personalized service.
This is InfoTrack, the weekly show with information you should know. Here's what's happening on this week's show.
Are today's parents unintentionally creating an entitled me generation of young adults? A legal expert says if you don't let kids struggle sometimes, they can turn out to be spoiled brats.
The state of mind in which children believe that they should have.
InfoTrack, Sundays at 8 a.m. on ESPN Blacksburg.
Every time I do, it makes me laugh. How did our eyes get so red? And what the hell is on Joey's head? This is where I grew up. I think the president would have fixed it up. I never knew we ever went without. The second floor is hot for sneaking out. And this is where I went to school. Most of the time I better things.
Pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg, and a good Saturday afternoon to all of you. Paul Van Wagner, Dave Perks, Tim Thomas, once again, shock and dismay.
Hello.
Yeah, Nathan's not even coming back. Like, he did one segment.
I
with
saw
us.
him once.
One and done.
He's got himself a Jimmy John sub inside a Hokie house, and he's just the
Drinking
epitome of
beers with
class.
Frank and Tina. It's a good life.
Mike,
Good life.
Oh, we lost Mike McDaniel again. All right, Mike McDaniel will get
we're
back
thin
here
on the
with
depth
us.
chart now.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's
Mike
like tech
McDaniel.
football. We don't
Right.
much
We're having to do all the reps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. Mike will return. I know that. Interesting week in the ACC, guys. I mean, all four matchups, when you look at them, are essentially marquee matchups, right?
Yeah.
Like even I know Miami and Virginia Tech are both
It's a
down,
rivalry.
but like it's a rivalry game. This game that for decades has been an 8:00 ABC game, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, so that's a great game. NC State taking on Syracuse, two
man.
ranked teams. Timmy, we're going to learn a lot today about Syracuse.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm 100% buying Syracuse. I'm buying Sean Tucker. That boy can run.
Oh, I'm buying
We're
Sean Tucker.
going to see about
I'm buying Sean Tucker's
I
tweets.
100%.
Yes, Sean Tucker's
Oh
tweets
my
are
goodness, his
awesome.
tweets have been incredible.
That's the thing that
Respect to him. But yeah, I don't know if I don't know. This is a big gut check game to see what is this Syracuse team, because they routed Louisville, they beat UConn, they beat Purdue. That's their best win of the year. UVA, Wagner, they've looked pretty good.
Yep.
But this is by far the best team they face. Even if NC State doesn't have Devin Leary, they have a great defense. Jack Chambers is an experienced quarterback, albeit Charleston Southern, but he's an experienced quarterback as well to go into the environment. I assume the stadium formerly known as the Carrier Dome will be rocking at 3:30.
I would think so
Today. But this is going to be a really big test to see what is Syracuse. How good are they really?
Yep.
Obviously they win today as well. Babers has got a bowl eligible team.
Yeah.
They
How about
should
that?
be able to get there. I'll bet the schedule gets much tougher the rest of the way with
Babers.
NC State, Clemson, Notre Dame, Pitt, Florida State, Wake, and then a relief with Boston College at the end of the season. But Dino Babers has done a tremendous. I mean, that's a hard place to win. I mean, people were saying Babers is still on the hot team. For some reason it was fair, but that's a tough place to
Unless
play.
you can schedule Virginia Tech 12 weeks out of the year.
Well, they got Boston
at the
College.
Carrier Dome.
They got Boston College and UVA.
Segment's been going on for 3 minutes. Andrew Alex getting better at this whole
So
radio
far,
thing.
only collectively 8 minutes
Here's
late.
what I'll tell you. I talked to the director of sales for Syracuse football, and he said it's the easiest year of his life this year.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
I
Those
bet.
tickets are selling themselves right now.
Yeah.
First ranked matchup in the Carrier Dome.
Artist
Since
formerly
Donovan
known as the
McNabb.
Carrier Dome.
Dang.
I'm never
Really?
gonna call it anything else. Since Donovan McNabb, it's been over 20 years since two ranked teams
Wow.
played each other in the Carrier Dome.
Oh, my
This is
God.
one of the biggest games in Syracuse football.
You know,
Moderately recent.
Well, it
history.
feels
Jeremy
like it's
has
gonna be
his
that way the next few
PTSD from Matt Ryan, but I still remember Donovan McNabb throwing up on the 5-yard line and then killing us on the very
So we're
next
all
play
like,
after that.
So you're 10 years older than Jeremy.
Right.
Jeremy's 10 years older than me. It's like everyone's got their own trauma.
Let's
from
not talk
Virginia
about
Tech
who's 10
football.
years older than who, okay? We're good.
Are you 10 years older than me?
Probably. I'll be 50
no.
in December.
Nah, it's not. No,
Not quite
even
10
close.
years.
Not even close. Not even close. All right, so that's going to be a good matchup. NC State, I think we know what kind of they have to offer, right? Syracuse, again, this is
Great defense.
Yeah.
Great defense. That's part of the
Tim,
fun
do
of
we
this
have
matchup.
I'm
Is
sorry
that
if I'm
NC
late
State
on this one.
defense and that Syracuse offense.
Do we have a status on Leary for today?
No.
Okay.
It seems very much up in the air. It's obviously something we're going to have to
It was
monitor.
the most beautiful coach
Both-
speak from Dorn I'd ever heard. He could be back this week. It could be 6 weeks. It's like,
It's
come
like,
on.
what is going on here? But yeah,
Is
I
your
mean,
first name
it is
Justin?
a factor, though. It is a factor, though.
And another
You know,
another
it's
big
gonna be a
matchup, at least should be, but maybe isn't this year. Number 4 Clemson taking on Florida State.
Biggest game in years.
This really is.
Really is.
Yeah.
And it's a primetime game, ABC.
Teams right here.
And Florida State's coming off a couple tough losses. They come back home. You know, they lost at home. The gutsy comeback by NC State,
Yep.
given that they were without Leary. But they come home. It's going to be rocking. You know, if they're going to have any chance of miracle at this point of winning the Atlantic. They got to win this game.
Right.
Otherwise, point. Clemson has played really well 2 weeks in a row now.
Yes.
They don't look like Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State.
No.
They're probably due for a slip up. I think it was Josh Pate who I was listening to. And it made a great point. They're kind of due. I actually agree with him as well. I still think Clemson's a better team, but this Florida State team, look, this is what, if you're a Tech fan, obviously if they lose, they fall to 4-3, but they are way better than that record shows. And if you're a Tech fan, look at what Mike Norvell in Florida State. That's what you want to see happen. He slowly flipped the roster, brought in transfers. It wasn't like he wasn't able to stuff it in all at once, but brought in good transfers. I mean, he brought in a 4-star, multiple big-time transfers that everybody wanted.
Right.
Even though he, first 2 years didn't go to a bowl game and they were terrible. So, but he built up the talent,
name brand behind them, and money.
It helps too. But Virginia Tech still got a good brand. Doesn't have the same money. Virginia Tech still's got a good name brand. Even if they were better, though, money still is a factor. But regardless, Florida State is exactly kind of what, if you're Virginia Tech, the model of how we're going to try to get back to being there.
Well, and 904 Hurricane brings up a great point, right? What's going to give first, the Florida State run game or the Clemson run defense? Like,
I would say the Florida State run game, because if you
don't think so?
If you don't have Treshawn Ward, I know he got hurt last game, and that Clemson run defense, I mean, that defensive line is almost as good as that legendary line that had Wilkins and Lawrence and I'm forgetting names, but all those guys. When you got guys like Brian Brzee, when you got like Xavier Thomas, KJ Henry,
Brian Brzee,
Tyler
the
Davis,
Lions
I think is
what
still
I'm seeing,
there.
by the way, guys.
I mean, those guys, I mean, it'd be great for the Lions to get him. That would be imagine putting him on that defensive line if they didn't.
How about that? All of a sudden, I got something to be excited
We have
about.
two teams in this game trying to prove a point.
Yes.
To Tim's point, like, Florida State is saying, like, we're kind of back.
We're here.
And even if they lose close, they're kind of back. Vegas starts this off as a 3-point line. Vegas believes that Florida State is kind of back. You remember in 2013, 2014, the ACC came down to the Florida State-Clemson matchup.
That game was
and
great.
from a brand name perspective, it makes sense.
Yeah.
For Clemson, like Tim mentioned, they've been playing very well a couple games in a row now. And teams are due for a bad year. DJU, now that Tony Elliott is gone, suddenly looks like a brand new man.
I was just going to say that. Same thing.
With this stretch that they have, right, with Florida State here, and then they have Notre Dame and Syracuse. This is an opportunity for Clemson to flex their muscles and say, like, look, we're a college football playoff caliber team. Because right now, today, I don't know if I could answer the question that if Clemson makes the college football playoff, will they get waxed or will they not?
I mean, but let's be honest. There's such a gap right now between the top three. I don't think it really matters. I don't know if Clemson might be the closest thing to closing that gap. Them and maybe Tennessee right now might be the closest things to it. I mean, but they've beat a good schedule. I mean, they beat Wake and NC State back to back. There's not a lot of teams that have played a stretch that tough in a 2-game stretch this year and done as well as they've done.
And the final big matchup of this Saturday from an ACC standpoint is an amazing. If this game was being played in the Dean Dome or in Coach K's house, like this, we'd be excited about this. Otherwise, it still might be a good game, Andrew. Duke's got something to prove. North Carolina also has something to prove. This is still a rivalry game, even though it's not on the hardwood, right?
Yeah, no, it certainly is, Paul. And Duke football is a program that at least has the appearance of some momentum in year one under Mike Elko.
Right.
I will mention that sources have told myself that it came down to Brent Pry and Mike Elko, so hopefully we're not kicking ourselves here. Early returns are looking like Mike Elko, who is a competent man who – again, this is a Duke team that was losing by 70 to everyone. They then lost talent, and now they're winning football games, albeit against not the greatest competition. But
win the games that are in front of you. That's what you have to do.
You're setting me perfectly up there to mention not the best competition.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think this. Look, I think Duke probably gets to a bowl game. Elko is doing a tremendous job, to be clear. But they've taken advantage of a weak schedule.
Sure.
They've taken advantage of
but
a weak
they've
schedule.
taken advantage of a weak schedule.
But it gets tougher today. I
Sure.
think the line's 7. UNC might beat them by 20.
Look, I mean,
I think, like I said, it might be 52-30 because UNC's defense isn't that great, but I think that UNC offense is, and it is a rivalry. Like there's a trophy on the line.
Yeah.
There is a trophy on the line. It will be loud at Duke, maybe. That game I think is sold out a bit. Let's be honest, probably a lot of Tar Heel fans because it's Durham and they only see 35,000. So really, it doesn't take that many to sell at that stadium, even though they never do.
I heard that trophy is called the Entitlement Trophy.
I believe it is.
I don't know.
Quick break.
Should be.
Quick break. When we come back, we're going to make our picks. We've got a couple minutes left in the show today. We'll make our picks. We've got 4 games to choose from. We'll do that coming up. You are listening to the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg.
You can't be at the game, then be in the game. Every game.
ESPN Blacksburg, 93.1, 810, 97.1, and online at espnblacksburg.com.
Unwanted bugs sending your anxiety into overtime? This is Jay Tucker, Hokie alum and branch manager of Pest Management Services, Inc. As a 32-year-old family-owned and operated business, PMSI is proud to serve as the official pest control partner of the Hokies. We are always on the defense against general pests, mosquitoes, bed bugs, stink bugs, termites, wildlife, and even mold. For a free inspection, visit our website at mypmsi.com. That's mypmsi.com.
In today's environment, it's more important than ever to establish a relationship with the right bank. Hi, I'm Jack Wilkinson with the First Bank and Trust Company. Business lending is a big part of what we do, but building lifelong relationships is who we are. We've been supporting the financial needs of businesses for over 40 years by providing customized solutions and delivering unparalleled customer service. When you are ready to experience the best in community banking, give me a call at 540-951-1656 or visit us online, www.firstbank.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Hi, everyone. This is Paul Van Wagner. You may already know, but back in April of 2021, I started a quest to lose weight. I was over 265 pounds, and I just didn't feel healthy. I made a lot of changes in my life, including my fitness routine. I made a serious commitment to get back into the gym at Blacksburg Boxing and Fitness. Kevin, Brant, and the entire staff were all very supportive of my journey. By working out roughly 3 times a week, I've been able to lose over 50 pounds. It hasn't been easy, but I'm proud to say I've stuck with it, and I'm still going strong. If you'd like to make a change this year, not only in your health, but your fitness and your whole life, I encourage you to try out Blacksburg Boxing and Fitness. I'm stronger, more confident, and less stressed because I did. I know you can too.
Hi, this is Kevin Bowen, owner of Blacksburg Boxing and Fitness. If you're ready to change your own life in 2022, stop by and check us out today. We are located at 115 South Hill Drive in Blacksburg, and we'd love to have you try out our free complimentary week. I promise you won't regret it. You can sign up online for that free week at blacksburgboxingfitness.com. Blacksburg Boxing and Fitness, where everybody's worth fighting for.
Here's a simple solution for you. If you have back pain, knee pain, or any other pain in your body, it's as simple as drinking a glass of water every day. Your body is over 60% water, and drinking the best water you can get is crucial for your health. Echo Antioxidant Water, developed by Synergy Science, is the best water you can drink, and it's only available through this special radio offer. Over 1,000 research studies have shown that the powerful antioxidant used in Echo Antioxidant Water can reduce inflammation, improve brain function, help you sleep better, and boost gut health. With just 2 glasses a day, you can experience these benefits right from the comfort of your home. Some people have even replaced their morning coffee jolt with Echo Antioxidant Water. Call now and learn which Echo product by Synergy Science is right for you. We offer free shipping and a full 30-day money-back guarantee. Change your health by simply changing your water.
800-944-1789. 800-944-1789. 800-944-1789. That's 800-944-1789.
Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
It's the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg, and a good Saturday morning to all of you. We are here hanging out at Hokie House. Got a good crew here. Jeez, this is like the olden days, Andrew, where we just bring all of our friends.
Yes.
And just throw a party.
That's what homecoming's all about,
That
Paul.
is.
The boys are back in town.
That is very true. Dave Perks, Andrew
Hello.
Alex, Tim Thomas, and Lord Dr. Jeremy Counts. Give us a game.
With the biggest poop-eating grin.
I
on
know,
his
right?
face. Just
I'm really
happy to
right
have a
now.
headset on.
I know it. He is.
I'm a simple boy.
You
I like
really
simple
are.
things.
You really are. They raise him very simple in.
That's why
in
the
Grundy.
number on his jersey is 11. You only got to remember one number twice.
That's true.
I
There you
thought
go.
that was his IQ.
That is my IQ.
All right, boys. We got to make our picks. Let me give you kind of an update of where we're at here. In no particular order. Right now, I'm batting 750 in this thing. Andrew's batting 800. Dave is batting 705. Tim is 736, and Jeremy is 473. No,
Jeremy!
wait, no. Wait. I lied. Jeremy is 488. He moved up last week by virtue of his 4-3 performance. So so we're gonna make some picks here, guys. We're gonna go through all 4 ACC games that we've got on tap. A lot of bye weeks this week, but again, the matchups are good. Like I feel like almost all of these games can go either way.
Yeah.
So let's start out with NC State taking on Syracuse. Dave Perks, who you got?
I don't believe in Syracuse. It's NC State.
All right, Tim Thomas.
I'm gonna go Syracuse. I'm gonna go. It's a gut feeling. I
didn't
go
even
either way.
have to think about countering Tim.
Yeah,
but I did. I love it.
Well, just wait, because the rule is Jeremy always picks opposite of Tim ever since the erotic fan fiction incident. Jeremy, who you got?
NC State.
NC State. All right.
I'm a simple boy.
You really are.
Have I read you the new verses? I started writing poetry.
Not on the radio, Jeremy.
No. We're not doing that. Andrew, quick, Andrew.
NC State.
Not that I need you to make the pick quick. I need you to stop Jeremy quickly. Clemson taking on Florida State. Game being played on ABC 7:30 at Doak Walker Stadium. By the way, I had NC State also. Andrew, who you got? Clemson. All right. Jeremy? Or do you want me to have Tim pick first so you can go opposite?
No, I'm going to do it. I've played my bid on that one. That was fun for a while, but I'm getting killed.
Yeah, you are.
On that one, I'm going to go Florida State.
Florida State.
Wow,
well, that worked out perfectly because I'm going to go
anyway.
Clemson.
Yeah, Timmy's going Clemson. Dave Perks?
Clemson.
I also have Clemson.
It's going to fall apart.
UNC taking on Duke. What is it, Timmy? The bell?
I think it's the battle for the victory bell.
The battle for the victory bell. All right. Well, I have the Tar Heels taking the victory bell home today. Dave, who you got?
I have the Tar Heels taking home the Argyle bow tie trophy this week.
Oh, that is, yeah. I have some Argyle socks, but they're not that powder blue color. Timmy!
I have boom boxes on my
UNC
socks.
shows us why Duke has been a little inflated by the lack of quality of wins. UNC comfortably covers.
Tim is a hater.
He is. Jeremy?
A hater. I got Duke because UNC is bound to fall apart. They're soft. Soft as their powder blue.
Soft as a baby kitten's taint.
Win the Coastal.
Soft as their basketball man helmets.
That is true.
They win the Coastal.
Andrew
UNC.
Alex.
I hate to
DDD.
I hate to do it, but I'm winning this thing. And I don't want to start losing. So I'm going to pick North Carolina.
Oh, you pansy. And you call yourself a Duke fan?
We just sent that clip to your dad.
Yeah.
He'll be very upset. Do not actually send that.
Yeah.
Somewhere
Somewhere
he gets upset
right
if I
now.
wear light blue.
Their helmet just has a foot on it this week.
Is that it?
Yeah,
foot.
they got
that's
the
gross.
chrome caps, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then they put like the foot on it. It's just like,
Does it have like the calluses on the side of the big toe and all that
I
stuff?
bet it
too?
does.
Probably.
I've not looked that closely because I was just like, no.
Our game here in Blacksburg kicking off in just over an hour, guys. The Hokies taking on Miami. I still think this is going to be a good game. Andrew, who you got?
Got the University of Miami in this one. Hopefully we'll see some more silver linings here. But based on the way that Tyler Van Dyke played after the conversations that he had with the coaches, they seem to have figured out their offensive philosophy. He looked a lot more like he did under Rhett Lashley last week. The points weren't put on the board, but nonetheless, there's a scenario where Virginia Tech can win. It's not like
right.
It's not an unwinnable game for sure, but I'm going to go with Miami.
Jeremy?
I think our crowd rattles their little five-star athletes that can't get it together. I think we win this on just enthusiasm alone.
Oh, okay. That wins a lot.
Enthusiasm of one
Enthusiasm
particular
wins
doctor
a lot of football
in the
games.
crowd.
in
I know I've won us some games.
Power 5. Timmy?
All 6
man.
wins last year were me.
Oh, man. Miami wins and covers.
Dave Perks.
I am following Dr. Jeremy Counts'
Yes.
science And I am going with the Hokies.
I got Miami in this game.
You're an
For
idiot.
all of the guys, I want to take a moment to just thank all of you for tuning in. Thanks for joining us on the Voice of College Football page. We will talk to you all next 2 weeks. 2 weeks on Thursday. We will be here live from Hokie House as the Hokies take on NC State. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the game, and let's go Hokies.
Hokies.
Big time moves. Yeah.